All right, we are joined now by Brent Beaird, Mr. Beaird. You see him a lot on Jacksonville, Florida. He's a freelance writer. You see him all over the place. Brent, let's get straight to it. Biggest news out of the SEC media days just literally happened within moments ago. Texas and Oklahoma potentially joining the SEC. Where in the world did this come from?
Well, what I understand, Dylan, and I talked to a Texas A&M beat writer. It's funny when we talked about this yesterday. We were just kind of laughing about how absurd it would be if it happened. But yet, then right before, and timing's everything in life. Right before Jimbo Fisher got on the podium, Jimbo was, like everybody else, kind of hit with this news that, and it comes from the Houston Chronicle, that Oklahoma and Texas might be interested in joining the SEC. And frankly, with this report, it was more than interested. It was that it might be done. So now Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, has basically given a lot of no comments with this. There haven't been any refusals on his part as far as to this report. I guess you take that for what you can and what you will, but I mean, look, this is a bombshell, frankly, in the midst of what's going on. And I'm sure that the Houston Chronicle knew that if they wanted to really expand on this, the scoop that they've got, that they could do it here, and in a matter of moments, half the country would be having it. So that it's an amazing thing to think about that, but Billy Lucci from Texags.com, one of the more reputable Texas A&M sites, probably the best one, also came out and said that OU in Texas have been pursuing this for years, but again, there are a lot of unbelievable parts of this that would have to happen in order for this to go through. But I know one thing that I think is reality too is you've got the expansion coming up, the playoffs, you've got contracts being rewritten. So this is a time, if you're going to look at some possible expansion, to certainly explore it, regardless of who denies it.
So Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher took the podium today. Dan Mullen took the podium Monday. It wraps up tomorrow. What's been your biggest takeaway from SEC Media Days so far?
Pretty standard stuff, I think, so far. Mullen was okay. I think the biggest mistake Mullen made was someone asked him about Alabama taking the recruits away from the state of Florida. And Mullen's reply to that basically was, well, I look at the recruiting rankings differently than other people. Well, the reality of this is, I can assure you, and I know you can too, Florida fans don't look at it that way. All Florida fans know is this is a staff that struggles to recruit. So that certainly did not help. I mean, he certainly raised the level of thinking, or tried to, on Emory Jones. And I think Anthony Richardson certainly said the defense is going to be better. Excited about playing the Alabama game. But he's also pretty excited that Georgia's picked to win the division instead of Florida.
Yeah. To give you a little more context to that recruiting, I think the stat was since 2016, Alabama has grabbed 9 5-stars out of the state of Florida. You could combine Florida, Florida State, and Miami, and those 3 schools have gotten 6 5-stars.
Yeah.
So Bama's completely dominated the state of Florida.
Absolutely.
Real quick, I know you don't have much time. People keep talking about the NIL and the transfer portal and all the changes happening in college football and how you bring more parity. It seems like what you could just basically do, it's real simple, a complex answer. If you're Florida State, Miami, just recruit your own state and make those guys not leave state. I mean, is it that simple, or is it a lot more complex to that?
Well, it's probably more complex than that, but I think you're onto something. I mean, good grief. If Miami said for years under Howard Snellenberger that if you could recruit the rate a 50-mile radius around Coral Gables, that you'd have enough athletes to win championships with. And certainly, I think that's the other situation with Florida. They've got to start to win some of these battles in their state, and that's going to be important. Now, to their credit, I think they recruit a lot of different cities in the state of Florida. But the question, Dylan, is are they getting the best recruits out of those cities? And I think that's very debatable too at this point. So, but they've got to win some of these battles, not only against Alabama, but you've got Georgia, you've got LSU in the SEC, much less the ACC schools that go along with that. So, but again, I thought Mullen might be asked a little bit more about his own behavior during the year as far as the Darth Vader outfit, the Missouri situation, and getting the near riot going on before halftime, and Colton and his team, a scout team, after the debacle against Oklahoma, that really didn't come up that much. So he exudes confidence, but Gator fans want to know that last year was not the exception instead of the rule for them.
Last question for me, and I'll let you go, Mr. Beard. A lot of big takeaway. Last week, the Big 12 had their media day. Bob Bowlesby said, we need everybody to get vaccinated pretty much. Greg saying he said the same thing Monday. Is that pretty much how it's going to be with COVID? And, I mean, if players don't decide to get vaccinated, I mean, is it just a free-for-all pretty much how it was last year?
No, I think this year is going to be different. They know what they're doing this year. There's just too much medical attention to this. Number one, you've got X amount of your team percentage anyway that's been vaccinated. Number two, even though there's the surge that is all over the paper and the televisions, I mean, look, we've still got several weeks before Labor Day. And that surge will simmer down between now and then. And I think the other thing is that we've got to give these schools credit for their medical people and their trainers did an amazing job last year all the way around. I mean, when we know some people miss games and so forth, but I really do believe that by the time we get into the season, that they will have they know what they're doing. And again, this is the population, Dylan, that they don't have much in the way of that they're athletes, they're on the field, they're spaced out from each other, that they are, and there's a reason why they're among the lowest percentage of the COVID really affecting them. In other words, would lead to a hospital stay. So I'm pretty optimistic, frankly, that despite the news, that we will be able to get the games in, and we will be in much, much better shape than we were this time last year.
Mr. Beard, that's all I got. I know you're a busy man, and I appreciate the time for you coming on.
Hopefully that in First Coach News, we will be talking about SEC media days in the next few days. If folks want to follow me on Twitter, Dylan, they're welcome to do that at Brent Beaird, Beaird, and obviously with our friend Terry Norvell, College Sports Today. So good job, my friend. Good to see you, and we will look forward to doing this again soon, okay?
Yes, sir. Appreciate the time.
Take care.